Are you ready for this? We're going deep on SZA today. I've got articles, interviews, everything from Strudel to the new Lana, just for you.
Mm.
And let me tell you, some of this stuff is wild. Like, did you know she almost took a totally different path before music?
Oh, yeah. It's true. Her path to music is not typical at all. It's so interesting to see how someone with a scientific mind, initially set on marine biology, could end up becoming such a powerful voice in music.
I know, right? Like, picture this SZA, knee-deep in textbooks about the ocean, probably dissecting a starfish or something, and then bam! Her brother's love for rap music changes everything.
And it wasn't just a casual interest either. Her upbringing, in a strict Orthodox Muslim household meant that secular music, it wasn't really playing at home. You know what I mean?
Right. So that makes her eventual embrace of music even more interesting.
Yeah. What did she say?
Totally. It adds a whole other layer to her story. And you can hear those influences like that, push and pull in her lyrics. It's raw honesty, but also with this almost spiritual depth.
And that's what makes her so relatable. She was bullied for her faith for wearing a hijab. And those experiences, that feeling of being an outsider, it really fueled her songwriting.
Exactly, like in Crushel.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is considered like a masterpiece by a lot of people. 5 Grammy nominations, a spot on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums list.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But it's not just about the awards. It's how she tapped into this universal feeling.
Yeah.
Of heartbreak insecurity that searched for self-discovery.
Yeah, Crutchell resonated so deeply because it went beyond, the typical surface-level themes of heartbreak. She explored the nuances of vulnerability, desire, self-doubt, with this incredible rawness that resonated with a whole generation.
Totally. Then after 5 years of silence, she drops SOS.
Yeah.
Which, let's be real, is a completely different thing. Debuted at #1 and stayed there for 10 weeks. Clearly, she still knew how to capture what people were feeling.
Yeah. What's interesting about SOS is how she blended these unexpected genres, pop rock, even a touch of folk, all while staying true to, that emotional core that defines her music. It really showed her growth as an artist, but without alienating her core audience.
And speaking of growth, let's talk about Kill Bill, the lead single that basically became a cultural phenomenon. I mean, a song inspired by a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
Genius.
It's more than just a clever concept, though. The way she took this revenge fantasy and infused it with her signature blend of dark humor and emotional intensity is what made it really hit home. And the music video, with its stylized violence and stunning visuals, it just further amplified that impact. It's not a surprise it got her a Grammy for Best R&B Performance.
It's like she took something familiar, this iconic film everyone knows, and flipped it on its head, made it deeply personal and relatable.
Exactly. And that ability to draw from different influences, to recontextualize familiar narratives, that's a real hallmark of her artistry.
Now, you sent me some articles about Lana, the deluxe version of SOS, that seems to be causing a bit of a stir. It's not just a collection of B-sides. It has this softer, more introspective vibe compared to the original album, almost like a secret diary.
And even the title itself is interesting. You flagged an article that digs into the meaning behind Lana. Apparently it's connected to a tattoo SZA got years ago, during a really significant period in her life. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, knowing her backstory.
Okay, so remember how we talked about her upbringing and how those early experiences shaped her music? It's like she's revisiting that part of herself, but with this newfound wisdom and maturity.
That's a good observation. It's almost as if she's offering a glimpse into a specific chapter of her life, maybe one marked by vulnerability or transformation. The choice to revisit this imagery through the Lana title suggests a deliberate attempt to connect with her audience on a deeper, more personal level.
And to top it off, they launched this totally off-the-wall campaign with Ben Stiller lip-syncing to one of the tracks. Who saw that coming?
Talk about unconventional. By featuring someone like Ben Stiller, known for his comedic timing. And, broad appeal, SZA was able to pique the interest of a much wider audience. It created this buzz, this what is she doing feeling that a traditional campaign might have missed.
It's like she's always pushing the boundaries, defying expectations, musically and in how she presents herself to the world.
And that's exactly what makes her such a compelling figure in music today.
So we've covered a lot already, from her surprising path to music, to the evolution of her sound with SOS, and now this intriguing new chapter with Lana. What stands out to you as the most remarkable aspect of her journey so far?
For me, it's her ability to blend vulnerability and strength, both in her music and her public image. She doesn't shy away from difficult topics, from heartbreak to self-doubt. But there's this underlying sense of resilience, this determination to own her narrative. It's incredibly powerful, especially for young women who are dealing with similar complexities in their own lives.
I totally get that. There's this authenticity to her work that's so refreshing. She's not afraid to be messy, to show her flaws, and that makes her all the more relatable and inspiring.
Absolutely. And I think that's a key reason why her music connects with so many people. It's not just about entertainment, it's about connection, about finding comfort and strength in shared experiences.
Okay, so we've talked about her journey, her influences, and the evolution of her sound, but what about the music itself? What sets SZA apart sonically?
Well, for starters, her vocal range is amazing. She effortlessly moves between these breathy falsettos and powerful belts, creating this dynamic texture that's instantly recognizable.
It's like her voice is an instrument itself, right? It's so expressive, so full of emotion.
Precisely. And then there's her use of harmonies, which are often layered and complex, adding this richness and depth to her music.
Right, it's not just simple melodies. It's this intricate tapestry of sounds.
Exactly. And then there's her production choices, which are often unexpected and innovative. She's not afraid to experiment with different sounds, different textures, creating this unique sonic landscape that sets her apart.
So it's this combination of her vocal talent, her innovative use of harmonies, and her daring production choices that creates that signature SZA sound.
Precisely. And it's a sound that's constantly evolving, which is what makes her so exciting to follow as an artist.
And that evolution is so clear in her collaborations. She's worked with some huge names, Kendrick Lamar, Doja Cat, Rihanna. Each one sounds so different, but she always brings her own unique style.
Her versatility is remarkable. You mentioned Kendrick Lamar. His music often has a complex lyrical style, and she just fits right in. Then you have someone like Doja Cat, who's more into playful pop sounds, and SZA adapts so easily, creating this infectious energy.
Yeah, it's like she can tap into the essence of each artist she works with, while staying true to herself. Pretty impressive, right?
It definitely shows her musical intelligence and her ability to connect with other artists. On a creative level, she's not just a featured vocalist, she's a true collaborator, bringing her own ideas to each project.
And her impact goes way beyond music. These articles you sent talk about her as a cultural icon. From her honest interviews and speaking out about mental health to her bold fashion choices.
What's refreshing about SZA is that she's not afraid to be vulnerable. Even when talking about her own struggles with anxiety and depression, this openness has really connected with her fans, especially young women who often feel pressured to look perfect.
It's like she's giving them permission to embrace their imperfections, to acknowledge that it's okay to not be okay.
Exactly. And by using her platform to talk about mental health, she's helping to destigmatize these conversations and create a more supportive environment for people who are struggling.
Speaking of platforms, she's going on a massive tour with Kendrick Lamar in 2025, the Grand National Tour. They're even doing 2 nights at MetLife Stadium. That's huge.
It really shows her growing global stardom. This tour is a major step up in terms of scale. It solidifies her position as one of the top voices in music today.
Okay, so we've talked about her journey, her sound, her impact, but what about Lana itself? You mentioned this softer, more introspective vibe. What are some specific things you noticed in the articles?
Well, a lot of the articles highlighted a change in lyrical themes. SOS explored a wide range of emotions, but Lana seems to go deeper into themes of healing self-acceptance, maybe even a sense of closure.
Interesting. It's almost like she's moving past the raw vulnerability of Curl and into a place of greater self-awareness and emotional maturity.
That's a good way to put it. And sonically, there's a noticeable shift, too. Several critics mention the use of softer instruments, more acoustic elements, and a bigger emphasis on vocal harmonies. It creates a more intimate and thoughtful atmosphere.
But it's not just a lyrical shift. This is sonic evolution, too. It's like she's using the music to reflect this journey of growth and healing.
Exactly, and that's what makes Lana so interesting. It's not just a bunch of songs, it's a world. That invites the listener to go on this journey with SZA as she explores these complex themes.
You know, one thing that stood out to me about Lana is the title. You said it's connected to a tattoo she got years ago. What do you think about that choice, considering everything we've talked about her personal and artistic growth?
It's definitely a choice she made on purpose, one that shows a deep connection to these songs. The fact that she named this deluxe edition after a tattoo, something permanent and meaningful, suggests that these songs represent a big part of her life, one she's ready to share.
It adds another layer of meaning to the music, almost like a secret code.
Exactly. And it invites us to listen more closely, to think about the experiences and emotions that inspired these songs.
It's like she's inviting us into her world, sharing her vulnerabilities and her successes, through this incredibly personal and moving collection of songs.
And that's the power of SZA's art. She creates these deeply personal stories that somehow connect with everyone. On a deep emotional level,
It's like she's saying, this is me, take it or leave it. And that's such an important message, especially today. When we're always being told we have to be perfect.
totally. Her willingness to be real and open, it challenges those ideas and makes space for genuine connection.
So looking back at everything we've talked about, her unusual path to music, how she's grown as an artist, her impact on culture, what's the most important takeaway for our listeners from this SZA deep dive?
That's a good question. I think it's the reminder that real artistry comes from embracing who you are, the good, the bad, the complicated parts. SZA's journey shows us that it's okay to break the mold, to change and grow, to use your voice to connect with people in a meaningful way.
I love that. And it's safe to say SZA is more than just a musician. She's a cultural force, an inspiration, a voice for this generation that wants realness and connection.
For sure. And with Lana being another step in her evolution, I can't wait to see where she goes next. It feels like we're just getting started.
I have a feeling this won't be our last deep dive into SZA's world. She's definitely someone to watch, to listen to, and to learn from. And hey, if you haven't already, definitely check out her music. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.